Hello, everybody. I'm Megan Graham, and I am not usually on today on live streams, but I actually just did a live stream with an update about the new LifeWave water machine that I just received. And when I was doing it, there was a little bit of a crossover into what I'm doing right now for my little senior. Unfortunately, I wish she wasn't a senior, Yorkie Lola in her golden years. And I was sort of making an update on there, but I know that not everybody really wants to hear about dogs. So I decided to just start a completely different live stream because I know that there are many people that are in my position where obviously we get our dogs and one day they're a puppy and the next they're seniors. So anyway, just wanted to tell you guys what I'm doing for my dog right now. And also, this is a disclaimer. LifeWave, if you look on the directions, they say that LifeWave is not for pets. It's not tested on pets. So this information is not coming from LifeWave. I'm just telling you guys what I am doing for my own pets in my own home because a lot of people ask me about what I do with LifeWave patches. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what I do. I can't always necessarily tell you why I do it because unfortunately, sometimes there's so little that you can say about the patches that's compliant. And it's not LifeWave's fault. It's just, it is what it is. So I can still give you an idea of what I'm doing. And so here is the situation. I have a beautiful, I don't want to pick her up and show you because she's resting, but she's a just under 13-year-old Yorkshire Terrier. And her history is that we lived in a flooded building years ago, and that was actually my first water damaged building that I had that kind of like shot me into having autoimmune issues. And during that time, Lola had a stroke and she developed pancreatitis and some neurological symptoms. So she's not been her best for a long time. She was a lot more frail after that experience. And although, of course, I got her care and she had neurologists and all of those things, there's certain things that unfortunately they've happened. It's like your steak is well done and it's hard to make it medium rare again. So anyway, that's Lola's history, and she is the most faithful, beautiful little dog I've ever seen. And so for quite a while, all of my pets during the day, most days were the X39 patch. And a lot of people ask me how I do it. So what I do is I take an X39 patch, and what I normally do is I take her. She's not wearing a harness right now because I just wanted her to be really comfy. But I take her harness and I stick it. There's sort of a flat part that would go against her chest. I stick the patch against the harness and I put the harness on. And so even though the patch is not facing, it's not stuck to her, the patch is still working. It is able to work as long as it is fairly close to her. It can work also through her fur. And so a lot of people ask about that. You don't necessarily need to shave your animal or do anything like that. It does still work for her. They all wear that patch just about every day. My husband usually puts the patches on. Sometimes he forgets, which is fine because he does so many different things. But most days they're wearing the patches. And so anyway, Lola, she started to have some more severe neurological stuff. Since she's frail, and I hear, are you coughing too? I feel like everybody's having problems at the same time. So poor dogs. So anyway, and if I seem very casual, kind of like I'm a teenager today, it's because we were at the vet getting her supportive care. So I just decided to come as I was. But information is more important than perfection, right? So anyway, probably, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I noticed she seemed to be taking a few tumbles. And at first I thought she was just like running too fast, or maybe the cats were scaring her or something like that, because there's always so much going on in our home. And when I was sitting one day, I saw her just kind of her foot slipped a little bit. So I knew she was most likely having some kind of, beginnings of a neurological issue, which wasn't really sure what I should do about it. I'll be honest. I figured it was probably part of the aging process. So we kept, doing all of our things. We have a holistic vet who's holistic and conventional. And of course, she was wearing the pets, and we give her probiotics. She gets vitamins and minerals. So she drinks hydrogen water. She drinks filtered water. Like, she gets very, very good care overall. Anyway, so earlier this week, my husband, I was doing some work on my computer and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Megan, you have to see Lola's being so cute and all the animals are looking at her." And I looked over and what he thought, it did look cute when you first looked. She was kind of sitting with like her legs out, but I've had a dog that had pretty severe neurological autoimmune stuff before her. And when I saw how she was sitting, I instantly knew it was that she physically couldn't stand up. So that was obviously not good. And the pets were sitting and they were concerned about her. So it wasn't, of course she's always cute, but it wasn't really cute. It was actually kind of sad. And so we, of course, called the vet and so that we could bring her in next thing, because we're not just like, oh, well, hope for the best. But in the meantime, just wanted to tell you guys the additional, Lola's wearing more patches than I wear, and I'm sure I'll probably get comments and some people will say, well, that's crazy, everybody's not going to do that for their pet. Nor do you have to. I always just like to tell you, are you okay, Poppy? I always just like to tell you guys what I do, and you can take it with a grain of salt, and you don't have to do the same thing that I'm doing. But if you do, and again, I'm not telling you should use patches for your dog either, because of course they won't tell you to use patches. But I do, and I find them to be helpful. So for Lola, what she's wearing right now is a few different things. One, I spoke to my upline, and he's really, really lovely. His name is Ted White, and he's really knowledgeable about patches. So he suggested, I'm not doing it every day, but to do a glutathione. So I did a glutathione on her thyroid yesterday. I'm giving her the day off today because if you don't know anything about glutathione, glutathione as a supplement is pretty powerful. I can't really say what glutathione the patch does, but I've found it to be pretty powerful. So I'm not doing it for her every day. I'll probably do it 2 times a week simply because I find it to be a powerful experience when I wear it. Let's just say what I feel personally. So glutathione I did on her thyroid yesterday, not today. I have 2 sets of energy enhancer on her body. Really important to know that with energy enhancer, it's, one set is a tan patch and a white patch. So she has, and the tan patch goes on the left side of your body and the white patch goes on the right side. So kind of over her front shoulders, she has a tan patch and a white patch. And then I also did a set of the same patches on her hindquarters. And the reason that I did that is that I was looking to support her circulation and her energy flow, generally speaking, throughout her body, because I think and I'm sorry if it's sad, but I think she's at the end of her life. So I'm just trying to make her more comfortable. And so I did those 2 sets of patches. And then right behind her neck, I did an X39. And I also did a carnosine. And I've also been, so that was her daytime today. And of course, yes, I'm always hoping with the X39, maybe we'll get a little bit of a miracle. And for anything brain related to be supportive, I like the carnosine patch. I never really know what I can go into, what I can say publicly, but I like to support brain function things with carnosine. It's one of my favorite ones. And so I also put a carnosine on her. Last night, she slept with an Eon. I was hoping to bring her a little bit more comfort, perhaps some better sleep. And I also put that was an Alavita. And then I did and I'm so sorry, I've been saying Eon forever, and apparently I think it's Aeon. Whoops. Anyway, so I'm still going to call it Eon because it's my way of saying it. But I also did an Eon because I was looking, I know that a lot of, and I'm not saying these are going to make anybody's pain go away, but for me, if my inflammation can be at healthier levels, my pain levels are usually better. So basically, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at Lola because let's face it, patches are not going to hurt her, basically. So I'm doing that. And one other thing, just in case you guys are interested to hear how I did it, I do find I had so many patches on her. There's obviously no way that I could put them on her harness because energy enhancer and where I needed these patches to be. so as a retired hairstylist, I wanted to break the adhesive strength of the patch a little bit, simply because if you've worn these patches, you know how strong they are. You know, they're very, very grippy, which is great. It's great on human skin, but she's so delicate right now. She's not feeling well. And what I didn't want to do is stick it on her fur and then just rip it off later. So what I did is I pre-gamed with the patch a little bit, and I took a little bit. So if you don't know this, oil breaks adhesive bonds. This is something I know from being a hairstylist because you use oil to remove adhesive hair extensions. And so I actually took the patch and I just put a tiny little dab of olive oil on it, blotted it right off. So it was still sticky, but it was probably about half as sticky. And then I stuck it on her fur that way. So I was able to get it off much more easily later. If she was a more active dog, I probably couldn't do that. But because she is not that active, I was able to take it off really easily. It stayed on all day and she didn't have the pain of like ripping off her fur when I took it off. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing for her. We also took her to the vet and they did labs because I'm a firm believer that you should always run a full set of labs because guessing, you truly don't know what you're doing when you guess with your health. There's really nothing that can substitute a good and thorough set of labs because I think what a lot of people do is they think that they know what their issue is. And many times, and this again is not medical advice, but it's happened to me before where I just thought I knew what was wrong. For instance, years ago when I was really tired, I was completely convinced that it's because I had low iron. And lo and behold, you know what my labs told me? My iron levels were extremely high. And so, you know, supplementing with iron when your iron levels are high is really not a good idea. And that was something that I did for a few days. Thank goodness I got my labs back and found out it was a bad idea. So we did her labs. As it turns out, she has quite a few kidney issues. Which is what happened to my other older Yorkie. And so I brought her to her. It's a conventional, it's like an integrative vet. And today she got some subcutaneous fluids. She also got a very supportive and gentle ozone treatment. And she got a B12 injection. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the supportive care honestly is going to help her a whole lot or not. But I always just like to see, you know, if there's anything that I can do. Because, you know, of course, they're my babies. So probably part of it's for me, part of it's for her. But I am keeping her as hydrated as possible while she's wearing these patches. And I also did some little gentle things. You can look up if you have an older pet. One thing that I've done with a lot of my older pets is some very, very, very gentle lymphatic massage as well, where you're actually moving the lymph ever so gently in stroking motions towards the heart, because the lymphatic system is one of the systems in our body that only functions with movement. And so if your older dog isn't moving as much, sometimes there's certain things that you can do as an owner to make your dog a little bit more comfortable and maybe have their body work a little bit better as they're moving through those, you know, it's kind of like their sunset times, if you will. And I know it's sad that that happens, but it is just a fact of life and it is what happens to our pets. And if we're great owners, even though it makes us sad, we know that it's about caring for them and supporting them in that time. And even though it obviously does affect us and we feel sad when we see it, I think the most important thing is to be with your best friend as it happens, because they love that. And so we're doing that. And I did an update on my other live stream. I did get the water machine delivered the other day, and I was so excited, you guys. I have been waiting for that water machine. Super, super excited. I've heard some pretty amazing stories. And so the water machine got delivered. I did a live stream to unbox it just because I knew it would be easier to do the video and frame the video that way. And we tried to turn it on that night, and unfortunately it didn't power on. Totally not LifeWave's fault at all. It looks like it probably got like a dent in shipping, and so it was damaged. But they were very lovely. They called me by the next morning, and they said that they're going to be replacing the water machine. So I'm just waiting on the tracking for that. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of anxiously awaiting it because, I mean, I can't help it. As a pet owner, I'm really hoping for some kind of a miracle where she perks up and I get, you know, fingers crossed, a little bit more time with her. If my apartment looks really messy behind me, it's because we put bath towels down so that she could walk without slipping because her feet are slipping out from under her. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. I've got a frequency treatment going for her. I've got all my hippie stuff going because, of course, I don't only do LifeWave patches. They're one tool in my toolbox, but I do have a lot of super, super cool biohacking stuff that I use for my own health. And so I took it out in hopes that maybe it'll just give her a little bit more time. And also, one little happy thing this morning, she was actually very, very spunky. Of course, I forget. It's probably the most important part of the update. But this morning I got up and we have her sister Poppy from the same litter. And Lola was on the carpet and she was barking and she was doing jumps and spins to play with Poppy. So even though she was having trouble walking the other day, she was doing jumps and spins today. So, it's always hard to say what's going to happen with dogs, but I just believe in doing every single thing that we can. I wish that I had known about the patches sooner because my dogs would have been wearing these patches on their collar their entire life. So whether it's on their harness or on their collar, they would have always been wearing the patches. So I use various patches. I won't go too much into why I use them because I'll just say why I personally use them. I'm not going to say what they do because I can't. There's only so much you can say. I use the Eon if I think that they might be experiencing some discomfort or I am trying to achieve a healthier level of inflammation. Or I use the Eon sometimes if they seem stressed out. I use the carnosine when I feel like they need a little bit of brain support. I do the same thing for me. If I feel a lot of anxiety and I'm not, how do I say it? I'm not diagnosed with anxiety. I'm not saying it as a diagnosis. Just if I feel worried, if I feel anything like that, and I want to feel more balanced, I put the Eon on. If I'm looking to support healthy levels of inflammation, I put the Eon on. I don't use all the patches on the dogs. I've actually never used the LifeWave on my dogs before, but the energy enhancer I really like when I feel like they need a boost. I won't say a jolt, but like a push from behind. And the X39 is like their everyday patch. So anyway, if you do have a puppy, or actually even if you have a cat as well, I hope that these tips are helpful for you. For my cats, because they actually don't wear the patches every day. But what I do for my cats is you can actually see, obviously my apartment is all set up just for my pets, not really for us. But my cat is in his cat tree. And what I do is I save my worn patches and I just lift up the little cushion of the cat tree and I put the worn patches under there. I usually just throw them all away about once a month. Usually around the first of the month, I scoop all the old patches and I throw them away. The company doesn't say to do that. That's not coming from them. In no way are they telling you that you should do that. It's just something that I personally do. I always feel like there might be a little bit left after I wear my patch. I don't even usually wear it for a full 12 hours. So I put it underneath for my cat to receive the benefits after I do. So that's kind of how my animals get their care. So anyway, I'll update you guys on what's going on with Lola. Obviously, if things don't go well, I probably won't do a live update because I would probably cry. So I'll probably just do it in writing. But anyway, I'll update you guys on the water machine and I'll let you know if I change anything with her patching as well. And the last supplements I just wanted to tell you that I got from my vet. This isn't LifeWave, but I like to give you guys, I know that people that love their pets really love their pets just like I do. And so I learned a lot because my other dog had kidney issues. And some of the things that I learned, so the other thing she's going to be getting is, it's not activated charcoal, but it's similar. Most people know activated charcoal. There is another version. It's made by a company called Cellcore, and it is something called biotoxin binder. Biotoxin binder is a super gentle, I would say superior binder, which means it soaks up toxins like a sponge from your body. And I read a lot about kidneys when Teddy was sick, and it was actually after he was sick, I think. But one of the things that I learned is that sometimes activated charcoal is given because it actually helps to absorb some of the toxins so that they can be I don't know if the word would be excreted, moved out of the body in a bowel movement instead of filtered through the kidneys. So I did double check with her holistic vet today, and she said absolutely give her the biotoxin binder to help to ease some of the strain of her on her kidneys. So I'll be giving that to her, always 2 hours away from any medicines that she's giving or that she's getting rather. And actually, usually I do it away from supplements. She's also getting a really high quality fish oil that the vet gave me. And she's getting a human grade kidney supplement that's holistic. It's by a company called Standard Process. So, anyway, if anybody wants any of the links to the other things that I'm giving her for her kidneys, I'm happy to put those into the description. I never know what people would like, but it's some really cool stuff that I learned when Teddy was sick. And my dog Teddy had an autoimmune disease that most dogs don't survive for more than a few weeks or months. And with a lot of supportive care, both conventional and holistic, I was able to keep him alive for 5 extra years. So I expected a few weeks and I got a few years. So it was pretty amazing. And I will say he passed. There's something about that 13-year age. It's just a tough age for dogs, I guess. So anyway, I really hope this was hopeful for you. I will say, I sometimes take my used patches and I've put them on my dogs before as well. I don't take the used. A lot of people they'll hear that and they'll say, oh, great, I'm going to put them on myself. I don't take my used patches and put them on myself, but I have put them on my dogs after when I've worn them for like 8 hours or something like that. So anyway, I hope that this free advice helps you a little bit. Also, just to let you guys know, if you are new to LifeWave, you're looking to try LifeWave, I always put my link in the description of the video. I also have a Patreon. I don't think I put the link in this video, but I'll add it. And Patreon is the place where I have some private live streams. I share sometimes a little bit more exclusive information. It's just a really nice, safe place to share like healthy recipes, different things that are going on. So please feel free to join me over on my Patreon as well. And thank you so much for joining me today. Hope that this gives you some ideas if you are caring for a beloved senior dog or cat. I hope it gives you some good ideas for just enhancing that golden year time for your pet. So thanks so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.